Welcome to the Agents of the Unexplained podcast. From a haunted abandoned asylum to Sasquatch lurking in the dark woods and watching you, and all things unexplained, here are the stories from outside our realm. With your host, Bill Rigby.
Well, hello, everybody. Excuse me. I got a little bug in the throat real quick. Tonight, my guest and a friend, Rye Voss, paranormal, UFO. Actually, he's all over the board. He's as bad as I am. If you can hear it, tornado whistle. So if you see me flying off, you know what happened. Rye will take over for me. But anyhow, let me bring him in. Hey, buddy,
Bill.
how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
I'm so glad to have you here. We got my troll friend out there. I don't know if you know.
I see that. Yay, time to troll Bill.
Ryan Tremblay. Yeah.
Excellent.
And my buddy Griff out there. And for some reason, my phone ain't picking up this here so I can see who's all talking. Oh, here we go. Johnny, Sybil, Griff, hello all. But anyhow, the thing is, and I already told you, I just let it roll. Tell the people about yourself to start off with.
All right, where do we start? Okay, so my name is Rye. I am the host of the podcast. Well, I don't like to call it a podcast. I like to call it a show because, it's a little bit of everything, which is Codega's Codex of Curiosities, which is a bit of a mouthful. I'm a fan of alliteration, so that's...
I bet.
So, well, I'll get into this because a lot of people ask, they're like, what is a Codega or what's Codega? Because everybody knows a codex, it's a book of curiosities. But Codega was back in I believe it's the 16th century. There was in Venice, there was a profession where someone would escort. There was a profession where a person would escort the people throughout Venice. He would walk in front of them, lighting the way with the lantern, keeping away thieves, criminals, ghosts, demons, everything. And along the way, he would tell them stories, and he would listen to stories that they would tell him on the way as well. So that is where I came up with that name, Codega. I really liked it, and I think it just fits. So that is where I went with Codega's Codex of Curiosities.
See, the problem I had with that, I kept calling it Codega.
That's all right.
Wait a minute, his name's Rye, not Codega.
Well, it's kind of like the moniker I'm taking on is that I am the Codega, I guess, in a way you could say. So, yeah, so Rye, Codega, whatever. Or here, for some reason, a lot of people call me Brian. I try telling them my name is Rye, then I just go with Ryan, and then they still mess it up, and they all just say Brian. So I go with it, whatever works. Sometimes I get called Ray, Rye, Brian.
I'm going to call you Bread, just like Rye Bread.
Exactly. There was a lot of people are like, oh, Rye, like the whiskey, because Canadian whiskey is rye whiskey, right? But my terrible joke would be like, no, it's not like the rye whiskey, it's like the bread. And that was my terrible joke. So, but yeah. So that's what. So that is that. But me myself, I host this show. My show is, I would say, along your lines as well. I have people on who've had experiences. I let them tell their experiences. I also have had a lot of experiences myself and a lot of insight on certain things. I'm no expert because I don't think anybody can be an expert on any of this.
Not a single person.
Nope, exactly. So it's kind of like my experience gives me a bit of insight, but I'm always open to changing my mind because there is I might be right on something and I might be wrong on something else, but I'm always open to someone bringing in a different point of view and expanding my perspective.
That is one of my things there. Keep an open mind.
Yes.
For the Bigfoot I saw, which is only 15 feet from me, I see Tim Gahart's out there.
Jeez.
He knows the exact spot I seen it.
Yeah.
Stuart Clark's out here too. He knows. They've been to the camp area, and I showed them within 15 feet of me what I presume it was flesh and blood.
Yeah.
Did it go down over the hill and jump through a portal? I sure in the hell don't know. Did it get beamed up by Scotty? I sure in the hell don't know. If he did, God bless him, because Scotty's dead. So, and that's what I'm saying. I presume it was flesh and blood. I cannot say it's interdimensional. It goes to portals. It's an alien. I cannot say that.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's what everybody has to have, because a lot of, like, I know the flesh and blood camp, you know, they will discredit anybody who's ever had they will discredit anybody who's had an experience. If you start talking, you know, other than flesh and blood, and it's kind of like, well, I'm sorry, but you're not an expert either. And, you know, we have to be open to hearing stuff. You know, it could also just be mere coincidences that there's these orbs the same time they see a Sasquatch. There's UFOs the same time they see Sasquatch. It could be coincidental. And even if it is, you still can't discredit the person having a sighting. Uh-oh. Here we go. Let's find out. What is
It's telling me to go to the basement. I don't have a basement in this office. So
do you want? So if you need to go, Bill, I can still run
it right here.
Okay.
If this starts spinning, I'm calling for Dorothy.
There's no place like home. Well, if I start to see you fly off, you know, I guess the show is over. This is a first for me, doing one with someone else who's in the midst of a tornado warning, which is crazy.
It is what it is.
Yes.
And with my wife being laid up like she is, my son-in-law already knows. Get her. It comes like to that point. Get her to the basement.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect.
I'm stuck out here, so
that's all right. You're stuck with me then.
Yes.
and I have like the complete opposite. I got nothing but blue skies and hot as hell. But
when I meet you in person, I'm giving you a good slap to the back of the head. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Yes.
But
so
anyhow,
for those who don't know, I this is where I record all my shows, all my podcasts. I record on the rooftop here in Mexico. I'm in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got into this. So I started getting into paranormal mysteries. You know, I think as a culture, we always have this hidden desire, or this desire to explore. And it almost seems like everything's been explored except for these mysteries, you know, these remaining mysteries, these enigmas that we don't know. And so I was always drawn to, you know, whether it be Bigfoot, the Loch Ness, the Bermuda Triangle. As a kid, I always had these longings to find out more. You know, I'd always go into the libraries, take out these books, but little did I know that I'd become part of one of these books when it became to the paranormal. Even before that, actually, I would say approximately when I was around 10 years old, I had my first real crazy experience. And this was not paranormal, but what this was an out-of-body experience. And what that was I was doing this race. We're doing this school endurance race. And there was the group of kids that were just in front of me, the really athletic kids. I was athletic, but I wasn't the best, one of the best ones. And this group was running in front of me. And I'm like, if I want to get like a good grade in this, because you had to get, it was all about time. It didn't matter if you're first, second, third, or fourth. It was all about your time. And so I'm like, I need to go harder, push myself harder. So we're nearing the end, probably maybe 50 feet left. And I exerted myself immensely. And at that point, I shot out of my head. Okay. So I'm sitting about 30 feet above everybody running, looking down, seeing everybody run. And this is a 10-year-old boy, you know, and I'm like, what? And that's when I saw myself running. You know, you see yourself running. And as soon as that happened, it was just like a back in, you know, I was back into myself. So that was maybe, and I'd be guessing like 2 seconds at the most that I was, had my first real crazy, and that was an out of body experience. And at the race finished, and of course, what do? You start telling everybody what just happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, this just happened. And kids at that age, they're not open to that kind of stuff. They don't want to hear that. No. So from that point on, I was like the weird, I was labeled the weird kid at that point. And, you know, I never really lost that. Maybe I just kind of hid it a little bit better, kind of realized that.
No, you embraced it better.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I embraced it now a lot more. Back then it was kind of like, let me, you know, I'm not going to talk so much about this. As I got older, you know, more things started happening. Of course, I started talking more. But yeah, so that was my first real crazy experience. After that, we ended up moving to this farmhouse that we built ourselves on. It was a small farm. I would call it more of a hobby farm. You know, like 11 acres. You know, we had horses. We had some birds. We had some, you know, dogs, cats, everything else like that, rabbits. But on this small hobby farm, that's where I had a lot of my experiences. And my guess is there was something going on with the land because, like I said, we built the house. There was nothing really on. The house was, you know, we built it brand new. So where it all starts here is, for me, one of the main experiences I do remember, I was in about grade 8 at the time, and one of my chores was I had to feed the horses. I didn't feed them in the mornings. I fed them in the evenings. That was my job. And my father had called up to me. I was upstairs in a bedroom on a computer, and he had said to me, he's like, you know, Ryan, have you fed the horses yet? And of course, you know, a kid around that age, you always forget. So I had forgotten. I'm like, no, I'll go do it. And it was about fall time, so the sun had already set. It was dark out already. It was cold, and so I was on the computer. Computer is in a dormer, like you can right in a window, and if you're outside, you can see right in. And I was typing on a journal, like a private journal entry, and I went downstairs. My family's all downstairs. I went outside, and as I'm walking down the driveway, I look up. And there's someone sitting at the computer desk. And this person looked identical to my grandma, who was still alive at the time, mind you. Okay. It looked like my grandma, who was about 65 at that time. She had curly hair, kind of like blondish, you know, kind of mixing with gray, curly hair kind of thing. And I could see her glasses, and she was sitting at the computer. And not looking out at me, or just staring at the computer blindly. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And of course I'm all concerned because this is my journal entries, and I didn't want anybody reading it. But I see my grandma, but it must not be my grandma. My mind must be playing on tricks on me. It must be one of my sisters, or maybe my mom or something. So I run down, feed the horses, come running back up. And as I'm coming back up, there's no one there anymore. And I go into the house on the main floor, and I was, you know, questioning my family. I was like, I came in, I'm like, hey, who was upstairs? You know, I was working on the computer. Who was upstairs? And they're like, no one. We've all been downstairs here. They were watching, like, I don't know, like the Grammys or some sort of award show or something like that. I do remember that. And I'm like, no. I saw someone upstairs. And they're like, no, we've all been down here. My one sister's like, well, I went to the bathroom, which is just on the main floor. They're like, but we haven't left. We haven't gone upstairs at all. And I swore on my life that there was somebody up there that looked identical to my grandma that was on this computer. Though, like I said, my grandma was still alive at the time. And so I go upstairs, and nothing was changed on the computer. Nothing was done. It was just a very strange experience.
Okay, I wonder if she was projecting herself to you.
I wouldn't say project. I don't think it was actually my grandma. I actually think it was possibly like a doppelganger. I always have issues saying that.
Doppelganger, yeah.
Yes, thank you, doppelganger. So it was some sort of entity reaching in and copying something that I was okay with or comfortable with, or not going to fear. That is what I actually. And again, I don't know, but that is just the feeling that I think it was at that time.
Right.
Yeah. Another small incident that happened. My window on my bedroom used to look out back. We had like it backed onto other farmers' fields. We could see for miles, and I had a pair of binoculars hanging out my window because you see the coyotes or foxes, and so I'd always like to see if I can spot any of them.
Right.
So as I'm walking, if Bill gets us into one thing for sure.
Long story short, I was life flighted and I did a live from it. Thanks, Sparky.
That's awesome. So I'm like, so I always had these sunglasses, right? I had these binoculars hanging from my window. I had like a crank out window.
Right.
So as I was walking upstairs, and like I said, this is just a small thing, but as I'm walking, those I can look, I'm coming up the stairs, and my room is I can just kind of glance into the side of my room, and I can see those binoculars, and those binoculars are just swinging side to side extremely, not making a noise though, mind you, not like none of that, silent, but swinging side to side. And I'm like, what? And so the way I have to get into my room, I kind of have to turn away from looking into my room to get into it. And when I walk in, they are perfectly still, and of course you question yourself. You're like, did I really just see that? Was it, was it my mind playing tricks on me? And that happened all the time in that house, where it was always, there was something catches your eye, something kind of not as major as that. Not that that was major, but something. And it's like, was my mind playing tricks on me? I always would say that house had I was terrified of that house. I grew up in that house from how old? I was probably 12 years old till I was like 19 or 20, and I moved out. That house, even at that age, even when I was this young man, terrified of that house, of being there by myself. Whenever my parents
like an entity attached itself to the house.
Exactly. And whenever my parents left, like if I was at home alone, I would go. We had like outdoor dogs and cats and stuff like that. I would go bring them all into my bedroom and close the door and just stay in that bedroom, and just being terrified. I was terrified. I brought in the animals for protection. It was just it was scary. And then to make matters worse, when I was about just over 16, I was 16 and a half years old. My parents had gone away for a couple of weeks. So I was there with my sisters. My one sister, she was, I think, around 20, 21. And my other sister, she was like 18 years old. And so what do you do at that age when your parents go away and you leave the house? Well, you have parties.
Party.
Exactly. So we decided that it would be a good idea to go to Toys R Us and buy a Ouija board, because that's the greatest thing to buy at Toys R Us, what a great kids game. So we had a Ouija board, and I think we made it worse. Whatever was in that house, we amplified it. We made it a lot worse. Because of course we used it. We don't know what we're doing. You read the instructions and, this is it's just a kid's game. It's a fun thing to do. Well, a couple years later, after this, like, I don't know, in all honesty, I don't actually know what happened to the Ouija board. I know we had it there for at least a couple of weeks, and then it just disappeared. I don't know if someone got rid of it or someone took it or what happened. But
I burned it.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't like Ouija boards. I'm into all this stuff, but Ouija boards, no.
Nope. Yeah. I think they're a gateway. What's on the other side? We don't know. We don't know. It could be my grandma on the other side. It really could be, but it could be some sort of demon pretending to be my grandma on the other side. We don't know.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I gotta grab my other dog. I got a mini fridge here.
No, that's what I need up here. Definitely. I put like some ice in my drink before I came up, and it's already melted. It's
well, that'll teach you to be sitting in 95-degree weather.
Exactly.
I'm sitting here in a thunderstorm. Tornadoes around us. And
tornadoes raging. Bring it on, right? Bring it on.
Sorry, I just go there.
Nah, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah. So this next kind of really big incident that happened was, I would say I was either around the age of 17 or 18. I had come home hanging out with my friends, wasn't drinking or anything. The night itself, I remember that it was a pretty clear night, and the northern lights were out. They were out really, really strong and bright and dancing around. I remember seeing that. Again, there's these pointers, that some things that I always remember. Now, I had to work early in the morning, and just a part-time job as a 17, 18-year-old kid kind of has. And I go up to bed, and I'm laying there in bed, and I'm when you watch the clock and you're like, well, if I fall asleep now, I'm going to have 7 hours and 23 minutes of sleep.
Oh, this is only till 7:30. We got 8 minutes. We're good.
Okay, we're good. We're good. So
I quit flying 8 minutes, but I better hold on to my phone just in case I got to do a live.
Definitely, you got to switch over from your phone, from your computer to your phone. So I was, I was clock watching, counting every minute that I'd actually get to sleep, and I think around the last time I remember was like, 6 hours and, 34 minutes. Now I'm tossing and turning. I'm not asleep, mind you. Okay. Yeah. So this is important because a lot of people are like, oh, that's sleep paralysis. Like, no. So lying on my side, and something just told me you need to look up. So I kind of roll onto my back, and I look straight up, and floating above me, about 2 to 3 feet above me, is this figure. Okay. Blacker than black. So my room, of course, all the lights are off, but this is, it's sucking any type of lights that are still out there, So I could see a head, I could see the neck, the shoulders, down to the torso. Also, I could see the arms up to about this point on the arms, and because that's where they were beside the torso, right? Now, when it got to that point, it wasn't black anymore. It was like a white wispy smoke, and it went into like Hollywood-esque style ghost. It was like this white wispy smoke at that point. Now, this thing is floating above me, and that's terrifying. But not only that, were its eyes. And I've heard people talk about, like cryptids and their eye glow. This had the same thing. And I'm going to connect that to that, is that, like I remember Matt has told me about the yellow glowing eyes, and this creature had red glowing eyes. It wasn't the whole eye. It wasn't like the whole eye, but it was round, like, about the size of marble. So it was like the pupil and the cornea as well, were this glowing red. And it wasn't like it was like shooting like a flashlight, but they were just illuminated red. Now, I laid there, and they always say that you have like the 3 Fs, it's either fight, flight, or freeze. And for me, it was freeze. So I froze, and I don't know how long I laid there for. It might have been like how long this creature was, or this thing was there. It might have been for 2 or 3 seconds as well. It wasn't very long. Poof, gone. And then at that point, I just stayed. I could not move. I did not move. And I just stayed still, laying there. And the next thing I know, I was waking up in the morning. And of course, I'm not telling my parents, I'm not telling anybody what happened, because this is a terrifying experience at that point.
Right.
And what do you say? What do you say at that point? Like now, if that happened to me now, of course I'd be telling a lot of people. But at that point, I still wasn't open to that. And that was, for me, was kind of one of the turning points in my life where I decided I need to do something about this.
That's the thing. Back then, it's like, all right, how can I do this? What am I supposed to do with? Am I supposed to talk to people about it?
Yes.
Am I keep it to myself? It is a turning point in how you deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for a fact from something that happened to me when I was a teenager. So yeah.
Yep. And I would say that in my mind, I knew I had to do something about this, but actually doing something about that didn't happen until years down the road, when I actually started pursuing knowledge, gaining wisdom, would be the best way to call it. I decided at that point, I would say around my late 30s, mid 30s, I decided that I needed some answers, or I needed to be able to protect myself. And I kind of stumbled upon a shaman who started teaching me. It was a woman, and she taught me for about a year. She kind of took me in and gave me some skills, I will say that. And then I ended up, coming into contact with a medicine woman as well. And for the next couple of years, she took me in as well, and was training me, and I was helping her with her sweat, because she ran sweat lodges. So I'd help her with her sweat lodges. I was the firekeeper for her. And through these, wise people, I will say, I was given some skills or some knowledge and some wisdom to help myself, and possibly to help others as well. And that's kind of where I went with that. And I would say it's been a life full of paranormal activity. There's not, I would say, not a week goes by that I don't see something.
Right.
It's kind of as if, when people say when people have a UFO experience, they seem to always have they have more and more and more. People have a cryptid experience. It almost like opens a door, and they keep having more and more of these experiences. For me, it was this paranormal experience that just kind of opened this door. And regularly, like I would say this week alone, I've saw three beings in my house. One was a small dog, and it's in this one specific hallway. One was a small dog. Another was a white ghostly figure going up the stairs. And then another one was just coming in the hallway as I was entering it. That one was a woman, blondish hair, which is strange here for Mexico. But there was a white smoky, I don't say figure like I really knew. It was like a white smoky mist that just kind of left my bedroom and went up these stairs. That's just this week alone. It's kind of continuous. There's always something going on. Where our house is built, we're built right on top of caves. There's a cave system. There was there's a old legend in this area that we are. It's like the what is it? The Bear of the Caves. And it was there's this guy who wasn't a good person, more or less kind of like a pirate, because there's a lot of pirates in this area as well. Oh, 1 second.
Right.
Yeah. So there is a lot of pirates in this area. So there's a lot of things going on as well.
Oh, cool. That makes it interesting too, with all the old history of that.
Oh, it does. It does extremely. It does extremely. Now,
when it comes to the paranormal, in Western PA, we got a lot of old mining mills.
Yeah.
They're old towns, all of them. And Sparky will tell you, the paranormal is rampant.
Okay.
In this area, it really is. And it's very interesting too. And it gets kind of scary.
Interesting.
Sparky wants to know, any giants found in those caves?
I see that in giant skeletons. Not that I know of, Sparky, but yeah, the giants. I'm a firm believer that giants roam the earth. I definitely. But there is nothing that I know of. That being said, doesn't mean that there wasn't, and that they're just kind of covered up and whisked off to the Smithsonian. Who knows? Who knows?
Or even so, the acidity in those caves too.
Mm-hmm.
It could have deteriorated the bones enough.
100% the limestone, yeah, because that's pretty much what this is. I'm built on limestone. Yeah, the hardness of the water here. I guess the hardness actually would coat the bones. It might actually prolong their life because the calcium that comes out of the water here is phenomenal. Like back where because I'm originally from Canada, and when I was living in this one city, we were considered to have one of the hardest levels of water in Canada. It is nothing compared to here. Like if you leave, we have like this business area in our house that is meant for like we want to rent it out, and it has a toilet in there. If the toilet's not used for maybe a month and a half, there is a calcium rock that builds on the top of it, like a hard film that builds on the top of this. So, yeah.
BJ, she has a question for you.
Mm-hmm. Any pots falling to the floor lately from the window? No. What? Is there something to go with that one? Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking like, okay, there should be more.
Yeah.
Please explain, BJ.
So any pots falling to the floor from the window lately? Not that I know of here. I'm just trying to think if there's anything. As for falling things, actually, there have. I will say so. Nothing's been really Sorry, loud bikes driving by here. But
I didn't hear it.
Oh, perfect. So, as for things falling, I would say nothing recently, but maybe like almost 2 months ago, there was a numerous amount of things falling, like picture frames falling off the walls. What else had fallen? A pot had. I see. Okay, so who just asked about the pots falling from the floor from the window?
BJ.
Okay. I know exactly what they're talking about. So when I was doing a live a couple of weeks ago, we put our drying rack right by the window in our kitchen because the wind blows through, dries it really fast. But this window, it swung closed and hit the pot, and the pot went flying and made this huge sound. So it was the window that hit it, and I was like in the middle of this. I'm like, I gotta go. So I run downstairs, and it actually wrecked the pot. Like this steel pot broke the inside. Like I guess it had like the enamel or the enamel in the inside. It broke it, and I was like, oh man. So I cleaned it up and it came back out. So that's where it is. Yeah. Sometimes my memories needs to be jogged a little bit. So yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that. Of course, BJ, you would ask that one.
Yeah.
Now, so all that paranoia stuff going on.
Yeah. Paranormal. Yes. Nothing normal about it, though. That's for sure.
But, yeah. It's not just with you.
Mm-hmm.
I've had other people on telling me about stuff like that happening with them.
Yes.
Now, do you think you attract these entities, or
I do?
Okay.
I do. I believe that. Okay, so this is again my belief, and it's always open to change. But I believe that some people are more of a beacon, and you're kind of more open to it, I guess. And it's not to say that no one else can be open to it. I think everybody, and it's not like, oh, I have a special gift or something like that. No, we're all the same. It's just that some people have like a muscle,
projected matter.
Yes. And it's kind of like, I guess it's like a muscle. You work it out, get stronger. Well, this opening that I have, because I've had so many experiences, you know what to, you're kind of more open to it, and you can close it. You can close it off. Like
Oh, yes, you can.
Yes. So it's, I guess I'm a little fascinated by it, and I have not wanted to do any of that. It's kind of like, let's see where this goes, and it's kind of a learn as I go kind of thing. So,
well, see, when you're saying about closing it off, I was 12, 13, 14 years old in that area. Friend of the family, son, I dreamt that he got ran over by a truck.
Okay. Wow.
That morning, I get up. The very next morning, get up to get ready for school. I go down to get my breakfast. Mom's sitting there. And I go, did Timmy get run over by a truck last night? She went, no. See, I didn't hear anything like no. Of course, then we didn't have the computers. We had the old dialing phone.
Yeah, the old dial phone, possibly the party line as well, because we always had to.
I missed that. But but anyhow, so that didn't happen. Okay, just a bad dream.
Of course, yeah.
That night, it happened.
No way.
For 3 nights, I could not sleep. When I was going to dream, something else bad was going to happen.
Wow.
I started saying, I'm not going to dream no more. I'm not dreaming no more. No more dreams like that. I got to get rid. I actually block that stuff out. Every now and then I can remember a dream. But I actually block it out now. And I'm trying to clear my mind now to accept this stuff so I can run from it.
I totally agree with you. Like that out of body experience, I actually believe I blocked that from happening. Because of the reaction that I got from everybody.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I like for me I would love to try having an out of body experience again, but that's, I got to try opening that back up again. But the dreams, that's fascinating, because that's another thing I think that. Dreams are so much more. I've always said this, and like if you had a premonition dream, that's something that I have regular. I don't say regular. I've had some premonition dreams, and one thing I do is I haven't in the past year and a half actually, but prior to that, since 2011. I've been writing down every single one of my dreams. I've been documenting every single one of my dreams, including, the date of them as well. And kind of like a heading of like, this dream is about aliens. This one's about a post-apocalyptic world and stuff like that. And one incident that I had was kind of crazy was, this is not dreaming that someone got run over by a truck, which is, that is, wow, that's quite intense.
When I was talking to a psychic about that, and I said, I don't think I'm an empath. Then I told the story. They said, I think you are. Open up your third eye.
Yeah, I like I said, I think we all have this connection. We all have it, and you had a good connection to it, and then, like you said, you kind of shut it down. Which
I was young, it really. It made me paranoid. I'm not going to lie. It made me paranoid.
Because you're probably questioning, did I dream the future or did I cause this to happen? You know?
I was dreaming. I was believing I was dreaming the closet to happen. At that young age. And that just blew me out of the water.
Yeah. Of course. And so, like I said, I document all my dreams. And my wife was... she had met this blind man. She's been helping this blind man on the subway for the last year. This is back when I was living in Calgary, in Canada. She's been helping this blind man, on and off the subway, because they took the same, they got off and on at the same exits. And so they became good friends. And what he did is he goes down to Peru on missions to hand out Braille computers and audio Bibles. Like, it's kind of like that is his mission to do that. So he was having a presentation of what he does at his church. And he asked us if we wanted to go. We're like, Sure. Let's go. So we went and, I sat down at this table and this lady sits down and she strikes up a conversation with me. And it was a very, to the point conversation. She's like, "Oh, this is a beautiful church." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And she's like, "Oh, is this your church?" And I was like, No, it's not. It's like, "Oh, which church do you go to?" I'm like, I don't go to church. My church is, being out in nature, being close to with what God made and what God created. And she got very heated over this. We had a very specific argument, and I was like, break the wood, cut the wood, there I am, break the rock, there I am, kind of thing. This is what God all created. And I kept my cool, and she was kind of getting quite heated. My wife said to me later, she's like, I was surprised how calm you were during this, and how heated that woman was getting. And I was like, yeah, like, I don't know, it just felt natural. So fast forward 2 weeks later, I'm going through my dream journal because sometimes I do. And the reason why I was because someone was talking about alien abduction in their dreams, and I'm like, "Oh, I've had those before. I'm going to go look up those ones." So as I'm flipping through, a dream catches my eye, and a specific date catches my eye as well. And I look at this dream, and this dream is word for word exactly what had happened at this church with this discussion with this woman, which is a coincidence, right? I'm sure that could happen. But I asked my wife, I said, when did we go again? She's like, "Oh, that was like the end of February." I'm like, no. Specific date. What was the specific date? And I'm going to say it was like around February 21st or 22nd of 2020 or something like that. Or 2019. I don't know, something. But I was like, "You're never going to believe this, but 4 years to the day is when I had that dream." So it was 4 years to the day that I had the dream, that I had this in-depth, exactly word for word conversation, and that I wrote down in my dream journal of this one. So I thought that was quite unique. Being 4 years to the day.
You're some sort of empath with that.
I do have a ton of dreams that I would say my description of dreams are this. So you're going to have the scientific version, which is, oh, dreams are just your subconscious playing through things that happen through the day, and you're just recreating these scenes over maybe these emotions and whatnot. And I do believe that happens. Right. Partially. Now, I believe we have other dreams where we can actually astral travel. We leave our bodies, we go somewhere else. I believe that we are able to travel within time. I believe that we can actually go back in time and forward in time. I believe that we can go to different dimensions. I also believe, I don't know if you ever remember Quantum Leap with Sam Beckett, where I actually believe that we can do that as well. And I had a discussion with one of my guests recently where he's like, yes, it's like sometimes we become the subconscious of someone else who's living a life. So we are inside their body subconsciously, and they're going through the motions and doing things, and we're kind of going along. We're in the passenger seat going along for a ride.
Oh, I like that.
I did too. Yes. So I believe there's a little bit of everything in our dreams. I think it's something that we haven't fully understood yet. And I think in the past, we used to praise the dreamers, not praise them, but, we gave them a lot more credit. We went to them for advice on certain things, and we'd ask them to help us out, because there is the dream world, I believe, is a reality that, we have a slight disconnection with, and we need to reconnect and see where it takes us.
That is the trick to it, is reconnecting.
I agree.
And I've been trying, but there's been a lot of stuff happening here at home with my wife and that. But I've been trying to open up that third eye like I was told to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just...
When there's a lot of things going on in the material world, like in this, I would say this is the waking world. I call this the waking world.
Okay.
And when there's a lot of things going on in the waking world, it really distracts us, and it takes us away from other things. And it's not that it's a bad thing to do that. It's something that, it's because a lot of people are like, oh, we're spiritual beings having a physical, we're spiritual beings having physical experience. And I agree with that. But we must not forget that we need to have that physical experience.
That's true. That's true.
It's good that we have this spiritual experience as well, but we should never forget the physical aspect of our lives as well.
That's right. Yeah. And like I said, I'm going to try to reconnect.
Of course.
And it's been kind of hard since I've been trying so much, I would say, distraction. And
yeah, we don't want to use that. I don't think that works well for this. I would just say that you are preoccupied, with important aspects of the waking life. Mm-hmm.
True. And Sparky goes, what are your thoughts on lucid dreaming?
That's something I haven't been fully yet to conquer. I have been I can go partially lucid where I can control what I'm doing, control what I'm saying, but I haven't been able to have full control. Like I can fly, but I'm not flying well. It's like I'm dragging my feet as I'm flying. It's like I know I can, and then I start to do it, and I'm doing it. I can be in somewhat control, but not to the point that I'm in this extreme control of it. So, but my actual idea of lucid dreaming is that, I think we're not actually dreaming anymore. We are astral traveling at that point. I think there's a bit of it's so close to being the same thing, but we're able to completely remove ourselves from our body at that point, and we're able just to control every aspect of our surrounding.
I've done that.
But I've done that. You've done that? Oh, awesome. Yeah, I have a friend who she does it. She says she does it so much that she actually doesn't get rest. And she's like so against. She doesn't want to do it. She's like she's upset.
You don't get rest when you're doing that.
Yeah.
I remember doing it, and for the next whole day, I was worn out. Not rested at all.
And I've had that with dreams. Like when I have these super intense dreams, and I don't want to say lucid, maybe partially lucid, but I know exactly. I almost need to sleep from my dreams, because my dreams are so intense. Oh, 1 second. I just got to grab my my dog. Seems to be going crazy here.
Mine's laying under the table. The big boy, and he's scared of the thunder.
She was. 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right. But yeah, folks, we got Rye Voss. Very interesting. Very interesting. He has his own podcast. Yeah, the name's right there. Check it out. Believe me, it's well worth checking out. I've watched several of it. But anyhow.
All right.
I was just bragging about you. I won't do it no more, though.
Okay. But I won't hold it against you.
Okay. No, I was telling them check out your podcast and all that.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm on Spotify. All the regular places.
He's like crap all over.
Exactly. Once you start smearing it on, once you get it on your hands, you just can't get it off. It just goes everywhere, and that's kind of what it is.
Oh, I ain't going there. I'm being safe, or trying to at least. But
yeah, so that's a little bit of that. And then I was telling you earlier that I had some UFO experiences, and not alien, but just UFO sightings. I can tell you about those ones.
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
All right. So this rooftop itself, actually, a friend of mine had called me, and I'm like, yeah, let me. And I like sitting up here. It's really peaceful at night. It's really nice. So I wanted to, I said, yeah, just give me a second. I'm going to go up to the rooftop. And I came up here, and again, like, how I said I got that feeling just to tell me to look up, and I saw that figure floating above me. Well, this was when I sat out here, it was telling me, look in that direction. It was a very specific direction. And so I start staring out over the ocean. It's actually over the ocean. We're about six blocks from the ocean, and it just I keep my eyes there. It was very strange. So I'm talking with my friend, and sure enough, I see this light coming towards me, and I'm like, well, probably an airplane, and I'm watching it. It's getting brighter and brighter, and that's when it splits off. It splits off into two lights, and it kind of goes almost in a almond shape. Like it's coming towards me though, so it's kind of like I can see it moving apart and then moving back together again and forming one. And then it came a little bit closer, disappeared, and it was. That was and I was on the phone with which is kind of funny, but I was on the phone because that's the second UFO sighting that I had that I was on the phone with somebody. So I see, like I said, I saw it and it just disappeared then. And I'm telling my friend, I'm like, this is what I'm seeing. And he's like, oh, that is awesome. And then about 30 seconds later, in that exact spot, and again, could be coincidental, I don't know, was a shooting star. Just in that little spot, it was just like just like this, And I'm like, okay, again, could be a coincidence, but it was oddly peculiar to be in that exact spot where these lights that separated and came back together and then disappeared.
I know people that, seen UFOs, and shortly afterwards they saw a shooting star. They never said it was in that same spot, but they did see that.
Wow.
Sorry, Griff, I wasn't sending the storm your way, but stay safe up there.
I can hear the rain. It doesn't sound as bad anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Lightened up.
Yes, it did. It did.
BJ, she showed me some at the end of my conference. We were all cleaning up, and she showed me these pictures, these UFOs she took pictures of.
Oh, wow.
Right outside her place there.
Cool.
I was 14 years old when I saw my first UFO.
Let's hear this, yes.
It was an early spring day, and going to school. We're out there, beautiful day, and morning. It was nice and warm. I look up over it, not a cloud in the sky. I looked up over the hill, and I see it. I'm like, hey guys, UFO. They're all looking. I run back into our house.
Okay.
And into the kitchen. My mom's at the sink doing dishes, which is facing that way.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Mom, look up over Quad's place. There's a UFO. And she's looking. She's like this here, looking and staring at it. And she turned around real slow and looked at me with a very stern look and says, do not tell anybody.
Really?
Do not.
That is like the norm. That is the norm for people to say that kind of thing.
This is the early 70s.
Yes. Yeah.
And my mom didn't care what people say about her. She didn't. She just tell them to kiss off.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But she didn't want the heat to come down on me. Well,
of course.
Of course, us kids at the stop all talked about it. And the whole way to school once we got on the bus and that. But the one neighbor up on the hill got a picture of it.
Really?
The local newspaper, local news, and he got interviewed and all this. People start saying, oh, that was a trash can lid, metal trash can lid he threw in the air and took a picture of. He's a whack job and all this. I mean, he got hammered by the press and everybody. And I go, that's why you keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. At 14 years of age, you learn. Keep your mouth shut when it comes to this stuff. We were coming out of church here, next year. I was probably about 15 at the time.
Okay.
And we're all standing on the steps of the church. My mom, dad, the preacher, his wife, and kids, my sister and brother. And all of a sudden, these two orange balls one above the other one, going straight across. They wasn't coming down. They was going straight across with a white tail behind them. They're going that fast. I guess that was burning off the energy. Here comes this guy running down the street, and he goes, "Did you guys see those orange balls?" My dad says, "Yes, they went that way. Keep going." And my dad and the preacher both said, "You guys didn't see anything."
Really, same kind of thing again, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, so we seen this stuff, but we never talked about it. I asked my sister if she remembered any of this. My brother, with his medical condition, he lost a lot of oxygen in his brain when his heart stopped. So he don't remember too much of the past.
Okay.
So I asked my sister, either she's playing dumb or she really don't remember. But I think she's playing dumb. Yeah. Because she was brought up in the old school way of don't talk. Don't say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I don't care. I'm talking about it now. I'm 65 years old. I don't care what you think of me. I ain't lying about this garbage.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like I don't need to impress anybody. Nope. It's kind of this is my truth, and if you don't like it, if you don't care about it, I don't care. This is.
I'm not out to impress anybody.
Exactly.
And I do these podcasts to learn.
Exactly.
I'm not out here to get famous and rich off my group or anything, because I sure now ain't getting rich.
I would say that like for me, one of the main was to learn more, but it was also I used to listen to, I still do it, the confessionals with Tony Merkel, and there was, and that's where it kind of really got me into podcasting, was listening to that. And I was like, I couldn't get enough of it. And then I'm like, why don't I take that role and, let people tell me their stories, and, maybe I can help them get some, I don't want to say closure, but maybe try to at least find some answers, or find other people that have had the same experiences, and
or some way to open up to tell their side, and hopefully I can learn from it, or talk about my experience so they can learn from it.
Exactly. And by giving them that, the mic platform to talk about it, that platform, yes, it allows others then to realize that it's okay. This isn't this stigma. This isn't this, I gotta, kind of like what you're saying before, where it's like, I got to keep quiet. I can't say anything. This isn't that anymore. This isn't that time or that place anymore. It's a place where I can talk about this freely and not worry about getting ridiculed.
Oh, that's the thing too. I bitch about the internet. I think the internet's the devil, but it has brought Bigfoot to the forefront, where people are more and more talking about it.
Yeah.
And the different cryptids, of course, the paranormal, the UFOs, the whole 9 yards. It has helped in that aspect.
Yeah.
But it also has hurt.
It has. And just conspiracy side of me, the internet was invented in Geneva, Switzerland. Switzerland has a really strange past. If you really start looking at
it wasn't made by that former vice president,
right? Yeah, there's been a lot of things that have come out of Switzerland that it was said that I'll just leave it at that for now. But
yes, not doing a conspiracy theory show right now, but
exactly.
But I agree.
Yeah.
We got red skies out.
Oh, there we go. It's going to be a nice day tomorrow then.
It might be a bad night.
Yes.
But anyhow, because I see the reflection off the clay-colored siding house next door to mine.
Okay.
So, but anyhow, that's the thing. the internet does help,
Mm-hmm.
but it does hurt.
Yeah.
And now that we got AI, it really hurts the researchers.
It does. There are so many people presenting AI photographs now as like real evidence, and that is one of my biggest pet peeves. And I'm like, oh, this photo was taken in 1926. It's this crisp, clear photo, and I'm like, no, it isn't. And first of all, one of the things to look at if you're trying to decipher if it is AI or not, and it's getting better, but you always look at the hands, always look at the fingers, and you look at the eyes. Sometimes the eyes are like this a little bit, but for most part, it's the hands and fingers. Those ones are issues, and writing. If there's any type of writing in there, it'll be jumbled. It'll be some sort of like alien script or something like that. So, yeah, it's. But some people are still trying to pass that off, and I'm like, come on, people, we need your help here, because this is going to be, this could be a big detriment to our, our strive for the answers for the truth.
Yes, Sparky, you're right. No tool is bad or good. It's the user who makes it bad or good. You're
it is
right.
True. Yep, 100%.
I'm not going to argue that, but
I use I use AI regularly. I do for my other job. I use it regularly because, when the internet came out, everybody was worried they're going to I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose this. I'm going to, and there was a lot of, as technology increases, people lose their jobs. But what they don't realize is that these ones that are being lost, there's new ones being created to keep up that technology, to develop that technology. So you need to be not on the side that's falling, but on the side that is, creating and finding a niche that is being built up by the technology. And as much as I know a lot of people are against technology, I think it's good and bad. Just like Sparky says, no tool is good or bad. It's the user.
I grew up, and thank God I grew up before the internet.
I did too. I am. The internet came out when I finished high school. Well, I actually was in grade 6 when they first. I remember they wheeled in a computer to show us Netscape at that time. But we never really did much for surfing the internet until after, when I got into university. That's when it started getting a lot more mainstream.
How old are you?
I am 47.
Oh, damn puppy.
But hey, I remember, riding my bikes to my friend's house, maybe playing Atari or something like that, or going outside and playing in the trees in the forest, building tree forts and stuff like that. But yes,
that's when kids actually went outside.
Yes, exactly. And now it's all this screen time kind of crap that I'm not a fan of. Yeah.
Right now, my 12-year-old grandson lives on the computer. But if I say we're going hiking, you're going with me, he goes, gets ready, he goes.
That's good. See, that is good. That is really good.
Grip, I agree. Oh, God, Netscape.
It's true. It's true.
Or how about the dial-up?
Yes. And then you go to use the phone, and you're like, oh, crap, I got to hang up the phone because my mom's looking up a new baking recipe or something like that. I'm like, oh, man.
We had the Beeline, we called it.
What is that? What is TSR?
All right. That TSR 80s is a computer. Yeah.
I don't remember the TSR.
But the Beeline, we used to get on the Beeline. You dial your own number.
Yeah.
And you get a busy signal. And you go, hello, anyone here? A girl says something, you start talking to her so you can hook up.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious.
That's when I was a teenager, many moons ago.
No, Griff, I do actually remember the Tandy computer. I do remember Tandy. Yes.
Yes. Old
Not
Radio
before, but I'm
Shack.
47. I'm not that young. I've got some age on me.
The old Radio Shack.
See, I was saying I'm 47. I'm not that young. I got some age. Yes.
Some.
Radio Shack. That was a great store. There still are around here and there. Yeah.
I think there's 2 left in the United States.
You'll find them here in Mexico. Actually, you'll find some Radio Shacks here in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you really make me going to give you a gift slap to the back of the head. I miss Radio Shack. I ain't gonna lie, I do. Yeah. Anything electronic you can find there.
Oh yes.
And believe me, I spent a lot of money at Radio Shack. Especially CB stuff.
I could imagine. CBs were fantastic. Yes, I think CBs were amazing. Yeah. Now I don't know. Do we have time for one more story?
Yes, go for it.
All right. So this is my other UFO story. This one took place in Chihuahua, Mexico, which is northern Mexico, just south of El Paso. Now, I was sorry, the dogs here are just going bananas because there's some guy parked out front of our neighbors selling ice cream. Now,
your dog wants ice cream.
Their dogs want ice cream. My dog is chilling here, just staring up at me, kind of. So I went grocery shopping and I was, walking out in the parking lot. This is about 10 a.m. and I am, walking with my cart. And again, something told me just to look up. So I look up and floating in the sky, and I don't want to say floating, but I saw this. And if I call it a cloud, it's going to sound terrible. Like if people are like, "Oh, that's just a cloud." It was this white cloud shape, and it was like modulating and changing shape and kind of moving over on itself and moving all around. Now this is a completely blue sky, and it almost looked like a white grocery bag, floating in the air, a white grocery bag. It was just constantly changing, and it was moving like gently around up above. And I cannot tell you the distance of how high this was because I don't know. Now
you're talking over them. It's okay.
Perfect. Now, so I'm sitting and watching this. I'm like, what the hell, And I'm looking around, and there's everybody just going about their business, just in the parking lot of a grocery store. Everybody just doing their thing, and I'm the only one sitting there looking up at this. And then I look over, and I see these 2 black triangular shaped craft, okay? And they're kind of on an intersect course like this. So they're coming in on an intersect course like this. And I pull out my phone, and I tried to video it, but this was back in like 2015. And my phone, it was like a Samsung Galaxy S3. It would not pick these up. Like, no matter how much I'm trying to video, I couldn't. So, like I said, when I was I decided to call my wife. So I called my wife, and I'm like, "You're never going to believe what I'm seeing." And so that was about 3 minutes in. About 3 minutes in, I call my wife, and I'm watching these. So I watch these 2 black triangular craft coming closer. But I'm looking back over this way, watching this white plasma cloud, just kind of changing shape, moving all over on itself. And I'm back and forth. And I'm like, what are these? And I missed the point, though, where these 2 craft came together. So I did not see this. So I cannot say they did come together or they didn't. But when I look back, there was one. There was one craft, and then so they were coming in like this, and then it went like this kind of thing. So they're both coming out at a different angle, and it was kind of like the trajectory that they both came in, and then it went straight like this. And I'm sitting there, and this lasted, and no word of a lie, around 15 minutes. And I'm sitting there watching. So I'm watching this white cloud thing that lasted for about 6 or 7 minutes, maybe a little bit less than that. And then it just gone. But I watched this other black craft. It did not move fast. And some people are like, "Oh, was that an airplane?" I'm like, well, it was triangular. It was black. And there was 2. Now there's 1. I don't know any any airplane unless it's some sort of military craft at that time that was performing some sort of maneuvers, but it wasn't moving at a high rate of speed. It was just kind of slowly lollygagging across the horizon. And I watched it go. I ended up coming back, taking some pictures of the area so I could then draw out the trajectories of these crafts and everything they kind of did as well.
Well, when you said the triangular shape in black,
yeah.
Last summer, I got a report from DuBois, PA. She sent me pictures that her daughter took.
Okay.
There was several triangular-shaped black UFOs.
Really?
Yes. That's why I sat up like this and looking like, really?
You're like, what was that?
Yeah. So, yeah. You know,
Interesting.
And
if you don't, go ahead.
This past Christmas, we had a cigar-shaped UFO over our river down here. That
really,
these 3 different pictures were taken of it from 3 different sides of town.
Yeah.
And the one girl that she started posting her pictures, and people start calling her crazy and all this stuff, and saying, "Oh, those are street lights." Well, what about the guy from the West Hill and the guy from the East Hill? And she was downtown. All 3 different angles got the same picture.
Wow.
So
if you don't mind, I can actually share the picture here.
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah. I have. Let me know when you got. I just
got it.
Just got to. Yeah. Yeah. So this one here, if you can see here, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, and so this is where Object A started and Object B started. These were these 2 triangular craft that came in together. This is where allegedly they met, because like I said, I missed that point. And then they just traversed this whole horizon, just up over this way and down like this. And this is this parking lot. Here's the grocery store. I'm in this parking lot here. And this is where I saw this. So this was that craft that I saw. Now, this other thing, I don't know if it's going to come up. I might have to switch screens. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing and I'm going to share the next one here.
Okay.
And this one here was this thing that was moving over itself constantly. So this is where I first saw the object, and it's not like it flew in straight lines. It was constantly like it was constantly moving all over itself.
Right.
So where I first saw the object, it flew over this way, changed direction, and headed the other way. Object flew in this general direction, though it flew very erratically, up and down, backwards and forwards, and flipping over itself. It looked weightless in the sky. And then it went over here, and it disappeared after this point. So this is this one that I saw. And behind me is where the grocery store was. So just to give you a bit of a like where I was in general areas. Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't have a picture of the craft, but that is what I have. Is best I could do. Best I could do is taking pictures of the area and kind of plotting it out. Yeah, and I did that because, like I said, my memory sometimes isn't the best, and I need to, I want to make sure I remember it in a good way, and so that's why I came. I went home, instantly grabbed my camera, came right back, and took some pictures.
I got to find that report and send it to you of the triangle shaped ones.
Yes,
because if I'm trying to remember right, I believe she said they were moving around like this here. All around, going one way, but they're like twisting and turning. And
I'll have to send you. So there's an individual, and so I never really saw anything similar to this until I watched a video from someone sent me this video, or I just stumbled upon it, and I saw someone videoing a very, very, very similar thing to this, kind of like plasma cloud, and I will share that with you. I don't have it handy right now, but I will send that to you here at a after this is done, and definitely say take a look at it and have a see at that.
Do you get into C-75 at all?
No, I have not. I know exactly what it is, but I have not.
Okay, because I've been slowly getting into it. Good friend of mine, well, Sparky, he does it too, but our other good friend got me into it.
I actually bought the app, the Stephen Greer app for it, but I have not used it yet. Yes, I was like, I'm like, I want to do this, and that was 4 or 5 years ago. I did that, and I still have never done it.
Doing their protocol, actually got a response.
Really?
Jamie did. Yes, he got a response. Yeah, very interesting. And I was supposed to go with them, and I couldn't go out with them that night. No I'm still beating myself up for that. It's like, man, I could have been there for this.
Okay, so I'm just sharing in your chat that video. Okay.
Right.
So, whoops, I spelled seconds wrong. But it's possibly around the 3 minute and 30 second mark and more, where he talks about and he shows this video of this kind of, and this looks a lot more like a cloud. The one that I saw was a lot more solid. But whenever you do get to watch that, or your viewers watch that, they'll get an idea of kind of what I saw. And what's strange is in this video, he sees two small black, I think there's two small black other UFOs flying by. So very interesting.
Yes. Hello, Virginia.
Hey, Virginia. How are you doing?
But yeah, the thing is when you see those, you become totally enthralled. I'm watching them. And now with the U.S. government putting out stuff about the UAPs, as they call it, UFOs, yes. Dumbasses.
They're UFOs, yeah.
It's only that much that they put out that they know of. And they
course.
Got so much more. And we learned so much more.
Yep. Agreed.
But yeah, those experiences just are something else.
I agree. It's pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy with everything that we see in and everything that everyone sees. It's just unique. Now, here's a question for you, Bill. Do you believe they are interstellar? Do you believe they're interplanetary? Do you believe they come from this world? Do you think they're interdimensional? What do you think a UFO is, or these aliens are?
I can honestly say I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't
Fair
know.
enough.
I don't know. They could be interstellar or interplanetary. Are they jumping from one vortex to another in this world? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't put a finger on it. It should be very, very interesting to find out, if we can ever find out in my lifetime. I only got another 40 years.
Unless you're like my, 40 years. Yes. Unfortunately, my wife's grandma has just passed away recently, but she was 108. She made it to 108. So there you go.
Lucky lady.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm going to die at 105. I'm getting shot by a jealous boyfriend in bed with an 18-year-old girl. Yeah, right.
Are you dreaming the future again, Bill?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But yeah, so it is very, very interesting. Just trying to figure out with that. As you know, with my group, I cover it all. So I spread myself pretty damn thin.
Me too. I do the same thing. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
little. I dabble a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and because it's also interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
Why should you pigeonhole yourself into one little thing? You know, one like just cryptids. We're just going to do Bigfoot. No, well, there's so much more out there.
there is, and I love you know, like stuff you were telling us tonight.
Yeah,
I love it. And that out of body experience is really wow. You know, that really got to me too. It makes you wonder.
yes.
You know, like that dream I had.
Yeah, your predictive dream. Yeah, it's like,
And the dreams you had, and
where is this
that's
coming
why
from?
I do this stuff. That's why I do this stuff. You know, try to figure it all out and learn from it. You know, and
exactly. That's exactly it. We're out just trying to figure it out and learn from it. And I find whenever we seem to get an answer, we get 4 or 5 more questions.
more than that. More than that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm fortunate enough to got a lot of people that I'm friends with that has a lot of great experiences to help me. Griff, I'd love you to come out with us anytime. I'm planning on doing it. Well, I'm going to be up near you in July. We're going to be up in the Alleghenies in July, the Allegheny Mountains.
Cool. Cool.
Doing a camp out and investigating. I'll be putting it out there exactly where we're going to be so they can come. Whoever wants to come camp or just come for the day, we don't care. I know Bigfoot group does a camp, expedition, they call it there, and they charge the people.
Okay, yeah.
And they charge them. And the National Forest, you're not supposed to, it's non-pay. You don't pay to camp. And they're charging these people. And they get away with it. I don't know how, but they do it. But we don't charge. I don't charge for, if we do it, we're doing a group camp out, which I'm not going to make this time in April
that's
because
too bad.
of my wife's health.
Of course.
At Salt Fork State Park, at the group camp area. Tim and Renee from Ohio Bigfoot Researcher. Josh Ensley from, I can never say his group's name. He's more or less the one taking the money. It's $5 a person per night. That's what the state park charges.
Okay, yeah.
Not making no money. That goes to the park.
That's good then.
And Salt Fork is where I have my sighting at.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I'm actually going to miss my own camp out there. So,
That's too bad. That's too bad.
Yeah, it is. But we got Gwen Purcell, got Knockers. She's participating in it too. So, yeah, we got all these different people, different groups come together. No egos.
That's a big thing.
Yes. No egos. And they all get along. They research together. They discuss different techniques together and learn from each other.
Exactly.
And a lot of different sightings there last year. I think there was 5 sightings and 7 different prints casted at ours.
Wow.
Last April. Yeah.
That sounds like a great time.
Oh, it was. My wife finally got to see hers.
Cool. That is cool.
Yeah. She said she didn't believe that Bigfoot was out there, but she believed I saw one. I went, that don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But you know what she said? When I said that, she says, because I haven't seen it yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, a lot of times seeing is believing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So now she's a believer and a knower.
Perfect.
But anyhow, We've been at this for almost an hour and a half.
Oh shit! Yes.
And
Time always seems to fly. Yeah, and I got another interview coming up. I got to get ready for it too.
Yes, you do. And thank you so much for making me jump back and forth in time.
I know. That's my fault. That is my fault. So I apologize for that.
Like Scott Bakula.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I usually put everything in my digital, but now I have like an actual book, a book that I keep all my interviews in. And I put them in both because I forget a lot. But this one, I only put in the book. I didn't put it in the digital. And when you said, "Hey, are you free?" I looked in the digital. I'm like, yeah. And then to this morning, I'm looking through my book. I'm like, oh shit, I got Robbie today. Like, oh man.
I got calendars.
Yeah. I need that.
Just for my podcast.
Exactly.
Well,
thank you so much, Bill. I really want to say thank you for having me on. It was my pleasure.
No, it's my pleasure. I'm so glad you were able to. Seriously.
Yes.
And I feel really great that you were able to, because I do have a lot of respect for you, Rye. I've watched several of your podcasts. We conversed on our groups and that.
Yeah, always. Yeah, and I appreciate that too, Bill. Yeah, it's just I like to keep everything professional, and I stay away from all the drama and everything, and I'm out there searching for the truth and trying to help everyone on, same as you, exactly the same as you. Yeah.
And I finally got to meet Griff. He's been following my podcast right along. I finally got to meet him March 29th at my conference I had this year.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hi, Bill." I went, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" He goes, "Great. I'm Griff." I went, "You're Griff? I thought you'd be taller." But no,
that is awesome.
Great guy. He really is. And,
that is awesome.
And I got to meet a few other ones this year too that pops in on the podcast or in my group. And
I look forward to like meeting my listeners or my viewers as well. I think that's really a cool aspect.
Yeah, I think I got people coming up to me in town here and saying, "Oh, you're the Bigfoot guy." And, yeah, I guess so. And
that's me.
I'm walking into one gas station to pay to get gas there at a Speedway here in Sharon, which I usually don't go there, but I forgot to make a turn to go across the state line here where it's cheaper. So I'm walking toward the station. One of the local cops is coming out of the out of the building, and he sees me. He's like, "Find Bigfoot yet?" I don't know this cop.
But he knows you. Yeah, that's great. That is great.
At least he knows me for a good thing, not a bad thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, and I was up in Forest County, PA last year, and I had dip ones come up, which I shouldn't have been there. I just got out of the hospital.
Okay.
Right after I got life flighted.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I'm not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
My good friend, he said he'd drive. All right, we're going. Even though I shouldn't have been traveling. It's 2 hours up there. We get there. Everyone's making me sit down. You got to rest.
Yeah.
But different ones come up to you. And I don't know who they are. I really don't. They know me from my podcast. I don't see their faces.
Yeah.
And they don't introduce themselves. Not like Griff did. At least Griff introduced himself.
Fair enough. Yeah. Exactly.
And it's like, "Oh, hi, how you?" And I don't want to be ignorant.
Yeah. You're like, "Hi, yes." I understand. Oh, no, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, those things it makes it worthwhile.
Of course.
Actually meeting the people that's watching the show, or even the ones that don't talk and said they really enjoy the show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they don't jump in and say anything, but they're watching. So that makes you feel.
We know you're there. We know you're watching. Yes. Yeah. Just say hi next time.
Hey, Where you barking
Exactly. I just said, just say hi, and your dog is there watching. He's not commenting, so here we go.
Yes, but so this year up there at Marionville, Forest County, I'm speaking there.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm happy about that.
That is awesome, Bill.
Yeah.
Bill, I gotta run here. I gotta go grab something to eat before my next one. I really want to say thank you so much, though. This has been fantastic. Thank you for making time.
We'll talk again soon, brother.
Of course.
And everyone, thank you for tuning in. With this.
Thanks, everyone.
And I will talk to you soon.
For sure.
I lost my brand. There it is. Here's my outro. See you, people.
See ya. Thank you, Bill.
This has been an Agents of the Unexplained original podcast. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe and view on YouTube. And please visit our store link in the bio. Thank you for listening. And remember that paranormal is